Welcome into Inside LAFC podcast. We are live on LAFC YouTube. We're live on LAFC Facebook every Monday, 12:30 Pacific time. We keep on going. The offseason can be very exciting, and there's never a dull moment, as you will find out as we get into the rollout of today's program. I am Max Bretos. Always great to be with you. And everyone's filing in. We have now officially ended the MLS 2025 season. Inter Miami are champs. We'll talk about that ahead in the program, what it means in the big picture for the league, what it means for LAFC. There is a residual effect, no question about it. We invite you to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Yes, hello, everyone. Flight 67, hello, Max. I met you at a game. Love to see you. As I always say, if you see me out and about, come say hello, especially if you're an avid listener of this program. And we are just so thrilled to see how this show has grown, so much so that we were gonna stop recording it. But because LAFC is a year-round club, and because LAFC always has news breaking, and we wait to see what happens next week. We talked about last week what is going on with regards to the season and all that lies ahead. I did want to talk about, I know there was a question about Coachella, and LAFC is still ironing out their schedule, but Coachella is on the radar. I don't know what that looks like, one game or two, but LAFC will be planning on being there. We will talk about, let's get into these questions and these comments. It's all about 2026 now. That's right. Born in LAFC, 15 minutes left of lunchtime. Let's get to the meat. All right, let's get to the meat then. And the first order of business is LAFC announces Marc Dos Santos as head coach. Marc Dos Santos, an assistant for LAFC for all 4 years under Steve Cherundolo. He was an assistant for Bob Bradley in year one in 2018. I think that's important to see about a guy that has put his time in here, who loves this club. After 2018, he had some head coaching experience with the Vancouver Whitecaps. While it didn't go swimmingly, head coaching experience in this league is essential too. It's not coming out of left field. So he's been a prime assistant here, and he has got that coaching career. And a lot of times the second job is the best one. Just ask guys like Bill Belichick. I know they're talking about football, but that second job, or Nick Saban, are the one that gets you through. John McWhorter, he says, I'm not 100% excitement online, but what do we need to know about Dos Santos from Max's perspective? I think there's a lot of things here from Marc's perspective and the club's perspective that makes sense. From Marc's perspective, this, and I'm looking forward to talking to him soon, so stay tuned to our LAFC channels. Also, wanted to say hi to everyone who joins us in Korea. We got some Son Heung-min news to get to as well. Stand by for that. It is Marc Dos Santos. This is, for all intents and purposes, his dream job. He's been in LA. He's loved it. He's probably thought about being the head coach over and over again. And now he's here. And LAFC can open. It's a huge job in MLS, but it's a huge job on the global stage. Wilfried Nancy, who had similar success, on par with Steve Cherundolo, just got the job at Celtic. While Scottish Premier League is not, I don't think, on MLS's level. Craig, I know, don't kill me for that. I know Craig Griffin, our local Scot, is there. Celtic is an elite job. It stands apart from it all because it opens a door. You know, when they talk about Scottish football on Sky Sports and the BBC, it's like it's part of the English game. I know it's not. It almost became at one point with Celtic and Rangers. So anyway, the point being, he was at Columbus Crew, had success. That is opening your eyes to so much, if in fact that's something Marc Dos Santos wants to do. From the club perspective, it makes a lot of sense too. Flight 55, good man, Mark. He is a lovely person. And I know that doesn't equate to wins and trophies, but I always love to see Marc Dos Santos. I know this resonates, and he's probably overwhelmed with this opportunity he's looking forward to. He always wears one AirPod during the match, and he's always he's doing all the data. He is, of everyone on that sideline, seemingly the most active guy during the Steve Cherundolo era. Maybe Santos brings in Kevin De Bruyne. There's a connection there. I know there is. And remember, Marc Dos Santos had a lot of success in the lower divisions, and that got him in the USL and NASL, and that got him an opportunity here with LAFC. Now, from LAFC's perspective, they are re-signing players. We're going to talk about Hugo Lloris in a second. He is the 22nd player coming back on the roster. So LAFC really, for the first time in their history, and we spoke to John Thorrington about this last week, and you can hear the conversation on Black and Gold Insider. They're available here on LAFC YouTube. This is something that LAFC have not really enjoyed. And we've seen it take a while, and new players are coming in here. But you have a roster in place, and a roster from our conversations with John Thorrington and LAFC ownership that have signed off on this Marc Dos Santos hire. They feel comfortable with him. There is a history that is good. So when you have this entire roster coming back, it would be weird, in my estimation, I think a lot of people share this, to bring in a high-profile coach, whoever that might be, to come in here, because that coach's perspective would be to put this team into his own vision. And that may require him saying, well, I know that guy's under 2 years, not my kind of player. I'm going to do this. LAFC have something that's working. I would say they were the third best team this season behind the two finalists at the end of the year. You're taking what happened at the end of the year where LAFC were playing their best soccer. You have to want to feel to keep that insulated. It may not be the sexiest thing where you're bringing in Jose Mourinho, not that he was a candidate. But by doing that, Marc Dos Santos comes in. He has the trust of the players. It just makes sense. It makes sense for Marc Dos Santos. As I'll get to the comments, give me your thoughts, what you're going to say. Craig, Nancy is going to make history. It's 40 years since the club outside Celtic and Rangers won the league. Wilfred will make that happen. That was a dig. That was a dig, I see. The Chris. Hello, Mr. Bretos. Hello, the Chris. The comments about Mark, fair. People like the hire. You know, we brace it because we know at LAFC and the fan base, their expectations are high. They want to hear the best coaching candidates, which across the board may not include Marc Dos Santos when you're looking at league-wide. But as it applies to LAFC, he is a top coaching candidate because of what he has done with this team. So I like it. I expected it. And I can't wait to say hi to Mark. Does it go great? Nobody knows. Nobody knows, but I'll tell you this. Got a club with everyone coming back. I remember last year I was at that Coachella Invitational. We just didn't know what this team was going to look like. After the 2022 MLS Cup, LAFC had to jettison players. After the 2020, more so in the 2023 MLS Final, they had to redo things. Imagine what LAFC could do when they don't, where they have a DP slot, which they could use on a high-profile player. But we were talking to to John Thorrington. It seems like he's looking to put nice pieces to support what LAFC has already. So that's the first order of business. The top of MLS plays like the top of the championship, and that's a good thing. The EFL championship. A lot of crossover between the two leagues. And LAFC is looking to continue to bolster this roster. And these are some smart people with the team. So if they are looking towards this team that they said, we like it with the leadership of Son Heung-min and Denny Bawanga. I know last week people were asking, we need a third person to get some goals, to take a little pressure off those two. Maybe that will be there. Oh, and I also want to say the staff for Marc Dos Santos, that is to be determined. We'll see what that looks like. It could, I imagine, remain with a lot of the guys there because everyone's happy. And this is a great team, a club. No one wants to leave it. Look at me. I haven't wanted to leave it from the beginning. I love working for this club. Let's move to the next order of business, and that is Hugo Lloris re-signing. That happened a little bit after we got off the air last week. So he became the 22nd player. That was a story that we were following a fair bit to see if, in fact, it was Hugo's decision. If he wanted to come back, he's your number one of the top goalkeepers. He got a lot of good numbers in, 33 clean sheets, incredible ball distribution, approaching 100 games played, and he had 2 memorable years, and he is now entering year 3. I remember I was in London when the news 2 years ago. I just happened to be in London on a family trip. I don't do that all the time. It just happened to be there. And we were going to sign. Hugo Lloris came up big, and we needed to do a PR shoot. And Nick Karras, who does our social media, was there. They didn't have a hat for the hat tilt. But I was in London, and I had a hat. So I met him at a tube station, gave him my hat. He gave it a good cleaning Went to the dry cleaners, made it look spick and span, and that was the hat that was used for Hugo Lloris's hat tilt. So we are forever connected. I don't know where that hat is now. It was a sacrifice I made. I like that hat, but it was a good sacrifice to make. Now that he enters his third year, Hugo Lloris gets his Angelino walking privileges. He is an LA guy now. And he is signed for 1 year with an option for 2027. I also add Thomas Hasal, who has been a bit of a journeyman in his MLS career. What he did in Leagues Cup and what he's done and you see in training, what you hear from Oka Nikolov, Thomas Hasal might be a guy that could be a top MLS goalkeeper. So he's getting the tutelage of Hugo Lloris, which is a bonus here. But the reality is Hugo Lloris still has a lot to give. I thought he did well in the game. I think the one thing that Hugo left was maybe he wasn't good at penalty saves. He made a penalty save in the shootout that we lost to Vancouver. He almost made a second one. Justice for the Max hat. Hugo did complain about the turf we played on. I got to say, man, it's a bit of spilt milk from Hugo Lloris. And you do it after a loss, people are going to roll their eyes a bit. But I'm glad he did it. Although I worry about the folks in Vancouver. After all the great stuff that they've done, I want them to have a home and keep building on this incredible year. There were 24,000 Whitecap fans at a watch party at BC Place. BC Place is a great location, but the Whitecaps are paying a lease, which can be, from what I understand, these leases are way expensive if it's not what you're doing. They need to kind of control that, but we shall see what comes of it. We wish them the best. But that turf, it's not ideal. And it's hard when you're watching the game. But anyway, Hugo did it. And those words have been said. Well, Serenity, why would you usher that in? Better hope Son doesn't get injured during the World Cup. Come on now. So there we go. It's not going to happen. By the way, Son, who we'll talk about, is going to be down in Mexico. He got in that group, so he's in the Mexico group. So we won't get to see him in LA, which was a long shot. We don't get the Korean fans will have to travel south of the border to see him and Korea to move forward. But that's not so bad. Mexico's a great place to visit. Artificial turf is BS. All right. Artificial turf certainly has a place with everything that they do in MLS. It allows you to get more games up and running. So it is what it is. MLS has done a nice job of eradicating things that may have been viewed as unappealing, like playing at NFL stadiums. That list is going down. Everyone's almost got a soccer-specific home, and that continues to grow. More news to report to you. The Concacaf Champions Cup draw is tomorrow, Tuesday, December the 9th. You can see it at youtube.com/CONCACAF. They'll have a event with all the pomp and circumstance, not at the World Cup draw level. What do we think about the World Cup draw? We can talk about that in a little bit. It's been a busy week in soccer, 48 teams, but the best part about the World Cup draw is now we know where everyone's going, just about everyone. We will see people still talking about the turf. I know that's a bit of an issue. Okay, Dakug, I hope we get the same path Miami got last year. Talking about the CONCACAF Champions Cup, we will be on the air. After the conclusion. So it's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. So figure around 5 o'clock. We hope to have a special guest on as well to talk about where LAFC is going. They squeezed into the tournament. However, that doesn't really apply to where they will be drawn. So there are 5 teams that get a draw. That includes the Sounders, Inter Miami, and Toluca. Then 22 teams are in 2 separate pots. LAFC will be in the first pot, of which there are 8 next best teams. I believe LAFC is ranked 8th in the CONCACAF rankings. So they get the benefit of the draw, which means they will avoid the big dogs. I think I gave that information. It was the wrong information. I apologize last week. They will avoid Monterrey, America, whoever is seated very highly. And those top 5 teams in that group in the first round, obviously, they won't be able to meet them in the second. That's good. You don't want to stub your toe. It's the beginning of the season. You're going to play early February. Could be in a cold climate or you could be going into the Caribbean for that home and away. The team is still gelling. That said, I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. LAFC will have all their guys together. And in a World Cup year, you're going to have guys that are locked in for playing because and the list is short right now. Only Son Heung-min is really confirmed as an LAFC player. There's a ton of MLS players. That list could grow. A lot of guys that are peppering around and a lot of guys playing for countries that still could qualify. So they should be pretty ready, everyone, and locked in on that to hit the ground running, as they say. So maybe last year they opened up in Colorado in that cold climate. It took LAFC to get a little bit to get going. Then they beat Columbus, and then they were able to meet Inter Miami, where they were just a missed opportunity from advancing. Vancouver and Inter Miami played in the semifinals, so that was a rematch of MLS Cup. Both those teams, history says, if you do well in the Concacaf Champions Cup, that comes at the expense of your MLS campaign. Maybe that is a thing of the past too. This is a big year for MLS. If MLS doesn't win it this year, it would be the biggest disappointment to date. They have their best field. They have more teams than anyone. So we already heard from Inter Miami. Their goal is to win it. Vancouver is going to want to do it. I think there's going to be some turnover there as well. Talking about Colorado, Sonny played cold weather in England for 10 years. Sure thing. And I think we got to brace for a cold climate. It is February. Then we'll have a game there as well in the second or third week of February. So the Champions Cup draw coming into view. Again, join us at 5 p.m., roughly maybe a little earlier on LAFC, YouTube, Facebook. We will have draw reaction. We'll talk about the team. And I know a lot of LAFC fans are dialed into that because they might be traveling. We might be going to Costa Rica. Eventually, maybe going to Mexico. Remember, last year was all MLS teams. No one wanted that, but it worked. And we got a game with Messi, so it paid off. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Inside LAFC Podcast will be here all year round. We'll have a little off season. But as we've said, things will be coming in. MLS Super Draft, free agency opening, all of that. Teams are making trades. Some teams are signing players. It's the longest season, so it's the shortest off season. Mo Salah to LAFC, one could dream. With Mo Salah, if you missed it, he kind of aired his dirty laundry with Liverpool, and now there's talks that that this will probably end his time with Liverpool. That's not guaranteed, although he's not included in their Champions League draw coming up. And where would he go next? And MLS and the Saudi League are at the top of the list. I don't know if it would be LAFC, Chris. San Diego FC has an Egyptian owner. That seemingly would put them on the front runner if they want to get a guy like that. Chicago Fire, there are reports last year, went hard after Mo Salah before he signed his new contract with Liverpool. Wherever he falls, it's good for LAFC because a guy like that in the league, Salah being a big baby. He was a little bit of a baby, but look, it's the one time it happened, you can't hold it against him. Getting back to it, Son Heung-min is the biggest Asian star on the planet. Mo Salah is the biggest African star. If MLS can corner the market on those guys, that would be very, very exciting. And Son on the left and Salah on the right, Kane up top. My God, you are dreaming. Wake up, Serenity. Wakey, wakey, eggs and baking. Do you think we will see someone take on the number 10 this season? Alex saying that there would be a number 10. Look, Steve Cherundolo ran a system. Will Marc Dos Santos run the same system? I don't know. Maybe there will be some fine-tuning. Maybe there will be an alteration. Maybe he views it a little differently. He is the coach. He'll be given that freedom to do so. Do they play with a number 10? I don't know. But I think we saw some moments where there was a bit of a hybrid like that. And looking to find other scoring opportunities. I'm not going to argue that. You want to be a multi-dimensional offensive team. And I think they'll find more goals. But at the end of the day, LAFC were one of the top offensive teams all of last season. This is Inside LAFC Podcast. We are live on LAFC YouTube and LAFC Facebook. The comments, I'm trying to keep up with it. Can we get an Ucha Magooch? There's Juan Vargas. Ucha Magooch, I said on the goal scoring from Pedro de la Vega, which made the Puskas list for best goal. It'd be cool to be affiliated with that, and that goal being heard for many, many years. to come. Are you guys watching that Man United game? I see that. Why are you watching Man United Wolverhampton when you can watch Inside LAFC podcast? Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Irene, what is that all about? Oh, you're laughing at Juan's comment probably, because Juan is a nonstop laugh riot. I saw Juan down at the Coachella Invitational. It's a good place to catch up with people if we get to that late. Was it right at the end of January? We can go see it. Check it out. Check it out. Someone's thinking LAFC versus Miami coming up. Inter Miami, as we move on here. The Concacaf Champions Cup draw. Just remember, we will join you after the draw, hopefully with a special guest to talk about it. And then you can schedule your year around that. I know, again, LAFC fans, we had that famous game in Leon. There was the trip to Alajuelense. We certainly look like we're going to be at one of those moving forward. So let's talk about Sonny. It wouldn't be a show without our guy Sonny. Son Heung-min is returning to Tottenham. Do not panic. He's not going to sign with Tottenham. But he will be there. He's probably there. He's there already. And this is ahead of Spurs' home match in the Champions League with Slavia Prague, where Sonny will get a chance to address the fans, Spurs fans, which he played there for 10 wonderful years. Spurs are calling it Sonny is coming home. We know a lot of Tottenham fans tune into LAFC because their adoration for Son Heung-min. Played almost 500 games there, scored 173 goals, including a Puskás winner at one point. And you will recall that Sonny, when he signed, was on tour with Tottenham in Korea. And when the move to LAFC happened, he came directly to LA. He didn't have a chance to go back to Spurs to say goodbye. Here is the chance. They are going to have a mural for him. They're going to have people are asking for a statue. I would imagine that's in the works if you're into that kind of thing. I'm thinking they might get a statue for me at some point there at BMO Stadium. I'm kidding. Sonny is coming back. Do not worry. Sonny's going to go. It's some unfinished business because that's the kind of guy he is. He makes a huge attachment. Many years from now, he'll do the same thing for LAFC. He's just in the beginning of all of this. But Tottenham Hotspur, it was important for him to say goodbye. And there is words that he will that we're hearing. Spurs officials did confirm they're talking about the statue. As long as they do a nice job with it. That's the key with statues. There we go. It's important for him. They're talking that he will have a chance to maybe address the Spurs fans, which is a beautiful thing. So we're very happy for Sonny. This is his off season. He is going to bridge the gap, but you know he's going to want to come back and get working really hard for this team to be ready for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. I'm sure he's tuning in. Hope, Sonny, if you're watching, to see tomorrow about the CONCACAF Champions Cup draw, to see where everything will fall into place. So that's some nice news for Son Heung-min. And he's going to be a very busy man. But we're curious to see what that mural is looking like. Craig, no statue. We need a bobblehead max. All right, we'll put it in there. I don't know if that will go so well. Some shots at Thomas Frank, not the Thomas Frank system. We are lucky with Sonny. If Ange was not fired from Tottenham, he might have stayed for more years. Possibly. The mural is done. You guys know more about what's going on with Sonny than I do. Good stuff. So we will keep up to speed with that. But everyone's staying very busy. That's why it's important that we have this show every week so we can share the news and I can give you a little opinion on it with regards to what's moving forward. But I expect more things to happen here soon, and the preparations for the season to start in February. Get your Christmas shopping or whatever you need in the holidays because it's flying by. I've been following Son since he was 17. So that will take you back to when he was in Germany, correct? Yes. Yeah, well into Germany. Before he left Korea. Now we'll see there with moving forward. Fluffhead, I see you. I can't read that, but I know that some season ticket members looking for the Coliseum game. That is the opener against Inter Miami. I know a lot of you are excited. Just stay abreast with everything that's happening. Another big fixture. So there was disappointment at the end of this year. It was a successful year for LAFC because they played in the Club World Cup, because Son Heung-min arrived, because they're one of the best teams at the end of the year. They qualify for the Concacaf. Everything is good. So now they look towards 2026, and things should be pretty good as well. I want to talk about 2026. This weekend, Messi and Miami winning the 2025 MLS Cup trophy. Congratulations to Inter Miami. Tickets are on sale now for Miami versus LAFC. I can confirm. So go check that out. Get your tickets. It's the Coliseum right next to BMO Stadium. Our friends in Korea, great time to visit LA. Go to the game at Coliseum. You get to see Inter Miami and Messi, who won MLS Cup. Great final. What'd you guys think of the final? Vancouver, and I'm sure as an LAFC fan, you're looking at this game going, that could have been us. And it certainly could have been, because no team challenged either Inter Miami or the Whitecaps ahead of the final more than LAFC did. Inter Miami ripped through their postseason. Vancouver ripped through theirs with the exception of that LAFC game, which went to extra time and penalties. But the Whitecaps made two mistakes, and it cost them. If they were just a cleaner game, which is a big if, they are the MLS Cup winners. And the Whitecaps had 2,000 fans there. It was a wonderful year for them. I spoke to some folks at the Vancouver Sun, and everyone in the city knew what was going on. That was a good final. Sometimes you don't get that, and that is before Inter Miami go to their new stadium. So I know the numbers are going to come out about the viewership. I expect it to break records because of Apple's reach. That was on Fox. I think Fox is going to get a really good number as well because it's Messi. That's the reality of the star power in this league. They move the needle where a game could get 300,000 viewers to all of a sudden getting 2 million. One guy. Son Heung-min is kind of in that mix. Thomas Muller can get there. We'll see what happens with some other players that come their way. But you can't always add guys like that. It has to be across the board. Rodrigo De Paul was here. Had the goal, the game winner in that game. Inter Miami, I know a lot of people, I hear you, man. We were so close, so close. And LAFC would have given Inter Miami fits, I think, just like Vancouver did. Did you see the Caps hitting the post 3 times, just like LAFC? I forgot. Both of them hit it. The soccer gods giveth and the soccer gods taketh. I did not even think of that angle. I was like wondering, where have I seen 3 hits before? And I go, oh yeah. It was a little different, the sequence, but it's pretty good. Pretty good stuff there. Appreciate that. Let's take a look at some of the comments. Big money game. Apple probably needs a big marketing push for the new MLS programming available to regular subscribers. They're going to need something to get eyeballs on the screens. Messi does that. I'm going to also answer this question. How much longer will Messi play? He is 38. Let me answer that one first. I think he's going to play for a while. And you saw the blueprint in this. He didn't really do anything. He's floating. He's waiting. Inter Miami is absorbing pressure. Inter Miami were playing catenaccio. They were looking to counterattack, letting Vancouver do all the possessing. Messi gets his foot on the ball, helps out on the first goal. Then the second goal gets the assist. He could do that till he's 43 if you can surround him with the players that can get the work done, which is a big if. Messi still poses terror in opponents and is the one guy in the world capable of blopping one there. They had 2 chances, and they converted on both of them. The law of averages say you can't keep that up, but that's what Messi did. That's why and he played a lot of games. And as long as he wants to play, and he's got 2 more years now in this contract, then I would imagine he goes to 40, maybe a little bit past. But the way he plays, and Inter Miami plays, they keep building around him, he can keep going. Elzhar, congrats Beckham and friends. Yeah, David Beckham and the Moss brothers did something very special. So I'm going to talk about what this means. I know a lot of people viewed Inter Miami as the villains of MLS. And I'm from Miami originally, and I pull against Inter Miami sometimes because I want, these other players and teams to get a sniff. But it is really good that they won this, and now you see this vessel of Inter Miami and this ownership group leading the way and taking other clubs like LAFC with them to the new era of Major League Soccer. We have a schedule change. So the 2026 season will be the last full February, November So MLS traditionalists squeeze it in as much as you can. Season before we make the shift. There's going to be a little baby 2027 14-game season. It'll take it through February through May. Then they'll have the offseason, and then at the end of July, the first full, let's call it European calendar, will be honored. My only issue with all of this, I think it was great. I just wish they could have done it at the World Cup, a year earlier, essentially. I think that's the time that you really needed to do it, but I'm not going to cry about that because they got it done. This is important for the business of MLS. That's the first shoe to drop. Moss brothers and David Beckham talked about this afterwards, saying, okay, we are not stopping. We want to win the Concacaf Champions Cup. We have a couple players that we've already spoken to that we're talking about coming in to replace the likes of Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba, who will be retiring. We'll see what happens with Luis Suarez. They said they want to sign him. Inter Miami are going, foot on the pedal. For so long, MLS had a wide variety of ownership groups, some that were ambitious, some that were not. Inter Miami, LAFC, San Diego, the Galaxy, Atlanta United, and a few others want to go. And I think now's the time where you follow them. And then Inter Miami winning this trophy opens the door for that. Inter Miami finding success is good for LAFC because they want to ride on that plane. And what I mean by this is maybe we'll see a shift in the salary cap. I don't know anything about anything. But whatever makes sense for the growth of the league, for the top teams, because now you've seen what Inter Miami and Messi could do. And now you've seen what LAFC and Son Heung-min and building a team at a high level over 8 years can do. This is the future of the league. So really good this happened. If Inter Miami didn't win it, perhaps we have to wait a little bit longer. But we're seeing the pieces in place. They are going for it. There's a restructuring of the Apple TV deal. I believe that's good news, despite some people saying otherwise. I think they're going to be a look to what the soccer landscape looks like. I can't imagine there won't be linear companies, streaming companies that will get in line to cover this sport. I know MLS, there's still a lot of things they need to work on, without question. And it's a longer list than I probably care to admit. But the positive list is good. And by the way, if you look at the data, the level of player, Lionel Messi was the MVP. You have Son Heung-min, who could be the MVP. Thomas Muller among the MVP 15 years ago was guys like Chris Wondolowski, all due respect, or David Ferreira. Those guys would not get a sniff at it anymore. But this is David Hernandez. You said it was betting against Messi. I picked Vancouver, but I stand by my pick because the way the game played, they looked like they could have won, but they didn't. Carlos Pineda asking about the tickets. Go check on Ticketmaster. I said he checked them on there. There will certainly be tickets available. Be patient. They should be there. I wanted Miami to win and Vancouver out. Inside LAFC podcast. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. We're getting to all the news. And I want to get to all your comments as well. My will and trust now say that my tombstone must be black and gold. Any update on Aaron Long's recovery, Max? Haven't seen Aaron in a few weeks, but when I saw him at the end of November, he was walking, looking good. He is on track to be ahead of schedule. He is a freak of an athlete. And if they told him it would be 6 months out, he's aiming for 4 months. That's going to be a big part. And we also got to see Igor Jesus coming back, but we expect them, maybe not the beginning of the year, but we'll have more details. I don't have that as well. But Aaron, good question. We want to see. Told a friend that he wants to be buried at BMO. We're not doing that yet. We have to be like 100 years old to start allowing that. Let's do that. So Andy Morin, we don't know yet. Andy Morin, I'm sure there were some discussions about it. We will see. That is not etched in rock yet. LAFC is looking to build that roster. So stay tuned. More stuff about Kevin De Bruyne coming. If we had relegation, Galaxy would have been descended to the B. Y esa mancha no se borra. Now you're going to make me think of that Luis Miguel song about ahora que tiene que marchar. Not manchar. Whitecaps had a game, but in my opinion, they threw the game a lot of questionable plays, 100%. And they tired themselves out. What ruined the Vancouver Whitecaps is that goal by DePaul. That took it. At plus 360, I took Vancouver as well. That's good odds. That is good odds. That's what I was thinking. People were saying how good Inter Miami was, and if you're getting odds like that, then Vancouver wasn't getting respect. One of our listeners in Korea, congratulations to Miami. Let's do this with LAFC next year in 2026. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to the LAFC players and Son Heung-min. What a lovely thing to say from Lydia in Korea. At least she wrote in Korean. I believe she is there. If De Bruyne is in our midfield, Kevin De Bruyne, come on, folks. And plus, Kevin De Bruyne's injury history, got to be careful. Got to be careful. But that's a guy you'd love in the league. From what I understand, Chicago was very close as good. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's wrap it up with the World Cup draw. The 2026 World Cup draw took place. As I mentioned earlier, Son Heung-min and Korea are going to be down in the opener. They're in Mexico's group, so their games are going to be down there. I'm trying to pull them up because I'm getting a mixed bag. Most people feel that South Korea, they're also South Africa, may not be the favorites to win Group A. I think Mexico wins that group because no one's going to have a bigger home field advantage than Mexico playing in those stadiums like the Azteca and Estadio Akron in Guadalajara. South Korea should get through. There's still a team to be determined. I believe it possibly will be Denmark as that team, which is a very good team. So some good games there for Son Heung-min. Right now, that he is the only bona fide player from LAFC that's at the World Cup. I'm guaranteeing that's going to change. Less traveling might help for South Korea. I think so. What did you guys think about the draw? People forget about the heat and altitude for the World Cup. So Korea is going to be dealing with some of that altitude, certainly in Mexico City. Halftime shows, I don't know. At every World Cup game, I don't know. Will it be the Village People again? They were at the draw. I thought the Village People would be in their 70s. They looked great for being in their 70s. I know it's not the original lineup. Village People were a big deal. I remember as a kid watching them. Still got legs. The World Cup draw. So South Korea is there. The United States in Pool D are going to play at SoFi Stadium. So our fans in LA, 8 games here in SoFi. And while our Korean community didn't get games here in LA, our Iranian community did. So they have, I believe, 2 games. There's 8 altogether. SoFi will get a quarterfinal. And one thing I also like about these games, there's a lot of games that are going to be played late at night, like 6 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Pacific time. So for the first time really ever, they did it a little bit in 2014. We're going to get some prime time games on the West Coast. Not a lot, but at least 4 or 5 p.m. You're not going to have to wake up at 4 a.m. to watch a World Cup game. So enjoy it. USA is going to be based here at SoFi Stadium. They have 2 games, including their opener against Paraguay, Iran, New Zealand, Belgium, and Iran. That should be a good one, too. SoFi is going to be very Persian for those games, which is going to be great. I'm glad one of our big communities, I believe the Iranian community is the biggest outside of Iran that resides here in Southern California. So there you have it. We get to look towards these games. So SoFi and LA will be busy. There are a lot of different cities you can travel to. I like what you might be able to get up in Seattle as well. Iran is a strong side. Guitarman is Argentinian. Argentina is going. It's going to be tough to repeat, but they have a very, very strong team with or without Messi, by the way. Any good potentials in Tottenham for Sonny to scout to U.S. to convince to come stateside? I don't know. But maybe some former Tottenham players. And there were some reports that Son Heung-min, and this is what Lionel Messi did. You know, he drew some players here, selling them on MLS. MLS is getting better, and more players want to come here and make, even in their prime, like we saw with Rodrigo de Paul. So maybe that happens in LAFC. So a lot to break down. We appreciate you guys all tuning in. We'll be back again next week because there's going to be more stuff to talk about, I can assure you. Inside LAFC podcast every Monday, 12:30 Pacific time on LAFC YouTube and LAFC Facebook. Anywhere in the world, you can catch us. We want to thank everyone who joined us. Scotland versus Brazil in Miami. McTominay will make Messi look basic, if you say so. The Scots are in it. Enjoy the World Cup. Start filling out your brackets if you can. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate the questions. Until we meet again, this is Max saying, let's go black and gold.